It's scary, isn't it? But don't worry, you can find comfort here, watching the Vomitorium. You and other fellow soon-to-be crabs can also support the Vomitorium at www.streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live.
It's not looking good for my bandwidth, but we'll try this for a little bit, see how it goes, and Well, if it doesn't go, then I guess we'll just end the stream and not do it today. Anyway, hey, welcome to the Vomitorium, everyone. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and I'm here to talk about whatever matters to me today. Boy, has it been actually a really short day. I almost forgot it was time to run the show because everything just went by so quickly. But here we are. Exciting day for me, especially because I really like the game franchise Animal Crossing, and we got a big update to Animal Crossing today. Wasn't expecting an Animal Crossing New Horizons update specifically ever after the last big one. But I guess they decided, since they were going to update it anyway for the Switch 2, they might as well add some new content that both the Switch 1 and 2 users can enjoy. Opened it up, patched it up. It's actually the first time that I charged my Switch in months. I have not touched it. Mostly because I personally still only own the original Switch, the number 1. I do not own a Switch 2. I have to borrow marsupials anytime I want to try something like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I have been playing. And so I had to go whip out my Switch 1, charge it, wait, I think about, 20-ish minutes, maybe almost half an hour, for it to be full charge, because I just didn't want to play it while it was charging. I didn't want to plug my dock in. Unfortunately, I have to use my Switch charger as my phone charger, because my phone charger broke, and I don't have a lot of Type-C USB plugs around, so I was like, that's the only one I have. So I was like, I didn't want to set up my dock just to play. Animal Crossing's better portable anyway. So, updated, have the game. Had to update my Switch too. Apparently there was 3 updates since the last time I used it. And really cool feature, first thing you notice, then I think they tell you over the intercom, because they always have like the town announcements at the beginning of the game, anytime that you open it up, is that there's a hotel added to your island. So you run off to the side and you see right there's this big hotel at the dock, extending the dock that Cap'n was at. His boat's still there, it's just even further off. I kind of like that it's just there and it's not like another island, because your island is supposed to be like a tropical resort, almost, right? Like, you were the first one flown there by Nooks Incorporated, Nook Inc., to basically cultivate this island and turn it into a habitable place, right? Well, there's enough businesses there now. There's enough residents. What can you do to make this more of a perfect dream island? You have to turn it into a vacation spot. And that's what Cap'n's Hotel does. You go in, his whole family is there. His wife, was it Leilana? I actually can't remember her name. And the grandma, who were all there in New Leaf as well. I don't remember if that was when they were introduced to the franchise. I'm pretty sure it is, because I don't remember them in anything before New Leaf. But his whole family from New Leaf that used to have to take a boat off to enjoy the tour guides and everything are there. You are the vacation island now. And the first thing they have you do is like, hey, we need some help. We need a consultant to make this a livable hotel. None of the rooms are made. We'll pay you for it. And of course, since we're the consultant that's made the entire island look good, we're the people to go to. You go in, they give you some themes. The first one, they kind of just want you to make it their hotel theme, their resort. Understandable. Second one, they start giving you some options. I think you could either make it like a Japanese themed hotel or a retro themed hotel. Or was it retro or modern? It might have been modern. Which can mean many things, but like modernist design. There's a whole set in Animal Crossing called the modern set, so that's what that would have meant. I went with the Japanese one because why wouldn't I? I'm pretty sure you're going to do all the themes anyway. I'll probably end up doing the modern one tomorrow. But you can only do 2 hotel rooms a day. Or at least for the first day. I don't know if the next day will also be 2. I'm assuming they're going to keep that pattern because there's an even number of rooms. But the cool thing is not this like short little one-time, yes, I decorated the room thing. A mini Happy Home Academy. It's like, we already have Happy Home Academy, right? You could go to the Happy Home Resort. You could do all of that there. Why do you need this on your island? No, the cool thing is that you're basically making temporary housing. The population of your island is really small. It's bigger than it's been in any previous Animal Crossing game. It still feels kind of empty because this is supposed to be like this tropical getaway, and yet nobody's there except for the people who live on the island. This solves that problem. Residents, or I guess you wouldn't call them residents, but villagers, whatever they usually call them, but the other animals, the ones that don't live in your town, can now visit temporarily, like for the day, maybe even for the week. I don't know how long they're going to be there, but one of them's already showed up. And while they're staying in the hotel, you can visit them in their room, or you can also find them randomly walking around your island. I really like this sort of, I don't know, addition to the game. That's the word I'm looking for, this addition. And I like this addition because it makes your island feel fuller. It makes it feel like it's the getaway you're supposed to be designing it to be. I'm sorry if there's any buffering at any point. I literally can't control that right now. I can see, I think we've dropped maybe a third of the frames throughout this entire show. But I've been really enjoying it. Even in the minimum capacity that I can without time traveling, I do not plan on time traveling just to be able to finish it faster. I think that sucks the fun out of the game, but I'm not going to tell you you can't. You bought the game, enjoy it the way you want to. I'm not your dad. I'm just some guy on the internet talking into a camera and microphone. But I'm going to wait each day, and honestly, it gives me a reason to go back to the game because I haven't touched Animal Crossing New Horizons in forever. To me, on release, and even for maybe the first year or so, it was the weakest of all the Animal Crossing games because it just didn't have all of the things that made Animal Crossing good in the past. It had a lot of new things, but it didn't have the stuff that made it Animal Crossing, in my opinion, going back to having played since the first game. Some of the stuff that makes it more Animal Crossing didn't come in until that last big update before this one. And they still want to push more and more into leaning into the island life. That is fine. That's what makes this game different. So if you're going to lean more into the island life, I think this is one of those things you need to do. In fact, I don't think they should have stopped here. It feels like there's not enough things for your island, not enough businesses, not enough attractions, maybe, whichever word you want. Having a hotel is cool. Having the museum that's always been there, great. The museum's one of the staples from the beginning, the original Animal Crossing. It's got to be in there. Having the roost, which I think was introduced, was that in Wild World? I think the roost was introduced in Wild World. I don't think it was in the original one. That was added way too late into the game, if you ask me, especially since now you can enjoy it multiplayer. I think there needs to be more attractions. And I don't just mean like pretending there's more attractions. You can put Ferris wheels, you could put merry-go-rounds or whatever on your island. I don't think that matters. It looks cool, yay. Can your villagers use them? I don't think so. I don't think your villagers can get into the teacups. I don't think those are attractions. They're just, decorations. That's all they are. There needs to be things that actually make the game of Animal Crossing feel more immersive. And the hotel's only one of them. I also just like that, everything that they brought back to the game is in other places. The Happy Home Academy stuff makes sense that it was on another island. Sure, they basically gave you a whole DLC. I mean, you had to pay for it, but they gave you the Happy Home Academy game for the 3DS, just added to this one as an addition. Great, perfect. That makes sense to be another island. A lot of the stuff on Harv's Island, I feel, could have just been on yours. They could have been stalls or stands. They could have been houses, doesn't matter. Kiosks. We could have made kiosks all over the island. That would have been kind of cool. But they're over in Harv's. I don't like how disconnected it is. I guess it's because they don't want your friends to come over and interact with that stuff particularly. I don't care. You could have just programmed it in a way where they couldn't interact. Like, sorry, this is not a service that we can offer to visitors. That's how basically every single Animal Crossing game in the past worked. It's cool that they have services that can be offered to visitors now. But everything they've added to the game from that big update on just made the game feel more empty than it made full because everything was away. This hotel update makes the game feel more full because it is right there on your island. I think other people, like if you have friends come over, they can go and look at the hotel rooms you decorated. Since it is on your island, they could talk to whoever's staying there for the day. That's cool. That's a good feature. I don't think we're getting more features like this. I highly doubt it. Just because how old the game is. It would be cool if we did. It'd be cool if they're just like, yeah, we're not making a new Animal Crossing for like 5 years. So we're just going to keep updating this one instead. Since, you know, the Switch 2 is out and we still give people reasons to play their games. That would be a cool idea, even if some of it's paid. I would pay for like another $20 DLC if it was a substantial amount of gameplay being added. Anything else should just be a free update. Are we back? I think I'm back. Okay. I hope that didn't start a new stream. That'd be awful. Anyhow. I think that would be the way to go. Let's just keep updating New Horizons. Maybe indefinitely, you know, until you can't work with it anymore. Because there's a lot of people that have put a lot of investment into their town that just aren't ready to move on, I guess, to another game because of the amount of investment they put into their town. I think Animal Crossing is one of those games where you can take your time making a new version. I remember Wild World because I prefer Animal Crossing in mobile form. I don't really like it in console form. The Switch kind of splits the difference on that. You can choose which way you prefer playing it. I think that's the greatest thing about the Switch for literally every game. Is like you could choose whether you want that console or mobile handheld experience. But I preferred Wild World to City Folk. Even then, there was a decent gap between Wild World and City Folk, and they were practically the same game. There's a little bit added to City Folk, but the main point outside of the city was functionally the exact same game. It even had the same soundtrack as Wild World. So for like 11 years, until New Leaf came out, I just kept playing Wild World. I played it straight. I think I've filled that catalog 3 different times. Well, no, not fully 3. I've filled it 2 times. But I was on my 3rd town where I like restarted and nuked everything. I did not fill the catalog the 3rd time around. In fact, because I had already filled the catalog twice, I'd had no gumption to try to even fill it again. The last town is just casual sitting on that town forever, right? But fun game. Fun experience. And I know a lot of people are having that experience with New Horizons. I wish they would update the characters to have more individualistic personalities. That's one of the things that I don't like about newer Animal Crossing, is that there's just too many characters. But collecting the characters, you know, having friends and stuff with them really doesn't matter because most of them are just archetypes, right? All sporty characters act like all sporty characters. All preppy characters act like all preppy characters. All grumpy characters act like all grumpy characters. It's not fun to make friends with them. And I guess the whole point is that you're just supposed to find the ones that you like the appeal of in some way. And you just have that one. Like, that's your favorite grumpy character, or that's your favorite preppy character. It's still not as cool as the original Animal Crossing, where it had such a limited cast that every character had a very, very unique personality. And even Wild World was a lot closer to that. I have Rolf on my island now. Rolf has been my favorite since Wild World. He just doesn't act as much like Rolf as he used to. So while the game is weak in that regard, it's strong in so many others. And many people just don't want to abandon their island for whatever the next Animal Crossing is going to be. And I think Nintendo also doesn't know what they want to do with the next Animal Crossing yet. Maybe it's a bold assumption. Nintendo always has people cooking up some strange new ideas. They might have the game practically finished by now, for all I know. But they put so much ingenuity into New Horizons, and New Horizons kicked off so well just because of the time it came out, that I don't think they know how they're going to top it yet. Or they may not even need to top it, but just match it. I don't think they know how they're going to match it yet. So it might still be better. Just, hey, we know we said we weren't going to update it anymore. Let's just keep updating it. Switch 2's here. Have some more New Horizons. What, you want us to re-ice your cake? Sure, as long as it means we don't have to bake a new cake yet. That's what I would do if I was in their shoes. But, there's probably a good reason why I'm not in their shoes. They're the ones that are making the money, right? Let's see. I think that's all I have to say on Animal Crossing. I will probably play it more. I haven't experienced too much. They also added this dream island. This, dream suite island. You go to sleep in your bed. You can kind of... Basically, just as a second island, you can decorate however you want. Single house, but you can modify the terrain, add fences, whatever. You could turn it into an orchard. You can invite friends over. I don't really get the point to it. Maybe some people will enjoy it. I will probably never touch it. I went there just to see what it was. I don't know why I need to dream of an island. I have no use for the dream island. I hope some people do have some use for it so they didn't waste their time programming it into the game. But it is it's another one of those things that it makes the game feel more empty, right? Because one, the island's completely empty when you get it. You can kind of pick a standard layout. You can make small, medium, big. Big is the size of your main island. But aside from that, it's just empty. With your house, a mirror of your house there. Sure, a lot of people will do a lot of fun things with it, but it's also in another plane of existence, right? That's another thing about making the game feel empty. It's not home. It's not at the island. It's not stuff for you to do in the main center of the game. You have to go somewhere else, even if the travel is dreaming. You have to go somewhere else to experience it and to drag your friends there and everything. Everything just feels so far apart. You can never do everything all in one place. One of the things I thought they needed back in New Leaf that they never did, and I think they should still be doing in New Horizons, but they probably never will, is hub zones, right? Something similar to like Harv's Island. But it needs open hub zones where you can, somebody opens it up or whatever. Sure, you don't necessarily have to have it running all the time, but it's effectively an open lobby that, anybody could go to. You maybe turn it to friends only as well. No communication in the hub zone, so there's no issues with, adults talking to kids when they don't need to. Just emotes only. Emotes only. And it could be, a pier. Like a Ferris wheel, it could be like a amusement park, could be a hub zone. There could be like a mall that's a hub zone. But if you're gonna make everything feel very far apart anyway, you might as well have places where people can gather together. Because the whole point of your island is supposed to be that it's the place that people gather together, but there's nothing to do on your island. I don't even think it has the tours, right? I don't think the game has the tours from New Leaf. The tours were a fun thing to do. It's just mini games you could play with your friends. I was expecting them to come back with the hotel. I don't know, maybe they still will, and I just haven't been paying attention, or maybe it's something you unlock later. But I don't think they have the tours at all. At all. Oh, I saw the info box from last time. Let me fix that. There we go. Other things. Since I've spent the first 20 minutes of this show talking about Animal Crossing. What was that show? Sentenced to be a Hero. Had the second episode come out today. Watched it. I liked it better than the first one. I think the first one was pretty good. That's no slight against the first one at all. But the first one was a lot of setup. There was some exposition, but it wasn't bad. I think that's what I remember saying about it during my review of it, because the exposition was placed tactfully in places where it wasn't a bother. Sometimes while people were running, there's a couple flashback, or no, one flashback that was the most important setup for the rest of the series. It's a game that respects its audience, or not a game, a show that respects its audience. I liked that. The respect stayed there into this episode. I don't know what the source material is. Haven't bothered to look up whether it's a manga. It's probably a light novel. I would assume, based on the name, it strikes me as one that was a light novel. Could not even have a source material. Could be original anime. I don't know. Maybe I should look into that before the next time I talk about it. But they were sent immediately, with barely any rest, onto another mission into the mines. Standard, like 20, 25-minute episode length, which I was expecting everything after the hour-long kind of movie pilot to be standard episode length. I'm glad it was standard episode length. They used their time very well, introduced a couple other characters. One of them was a former king of the land who was also sentenced to be a hero for crimes I don't think they actually said, but maybe we'll find out as it continues. One of them was one of those guys who you clearly was resurrected so many times that he's basically just a lifeless husk that follows orders. He's like a zombie. He was going to town on the mine. Like, you tell him to do something, he just does it, because that's all he can do now. But it was fun. It was a little funnier than the first episode, but I think because the first episode was a large action-packed movie that was setting everything up, this is allowed to be a little bit funnier at times. And because of that, I enjoyed it more. I like the tone. It still keeps that dark fantasy tone, but it has a mix between regular levity and gallows humor as well, which fits that dark fantasy setting. The kind of blight that infects everything has been spreading everywhere, even into this mine. So obviously there is a demon lord deep in the mine too. They tell you this. It's clearly the direction they're going for whatever the next couple episodes are. The characters. I like the two main characters. I thought the thief from the first one was going to be part of like the crew, but it doesn't seem to be that way. He might come back, but it seems the main focus is just the main guy and the goddess. Those two. And yeah, those two, and then the other heroes will probably be like a cycling cast, right? Like they introduced that king. The thief guy might come back later. If there is a source material, I'm sure there's people who've read farther ahead and actually know what the cast is, but from only having the experience of watching the show, this is my interpretation of the events that are going on. I don't mind that it's only focusing on these two characters. I think they're strong enough characters on their own, and having fluctuating cycling characters for different missions can keep things fresh, keep things lighthearted. The king still acts like he's the king of the land, even though he's not anymore. Maybe he's been resurrected enough times that he's starting to go a little loopy. According to the main character, that's all him. So maybe he was always that way and nothing's been affecting him yet. That's very believable. But he's like shouting orders. He has a certain bravado that you expect a leader to have. He's over the top. He's funny in himself. I quite enjoyed the episode. There's not a lot to it. Again, it's just a 25-minute episode. I think it will be this day every week for the rest of the season, so I'll be able to watch more of it again next Thursday. I think today's Thursday, right? I completely lose track of what day of the week it is. Yes, it is Thursday. And we will keep updated on that. We'll see how much I continue to enjoy the show, but aside from animation, which this one, I would say on average was better than the movie animation. Maybe because it was a shorter episode, so there was less chance to have points of low animation. Still not the greatest, but it was completely serviceable this time around. I could still see some of the things I saw in the movie. Obviously, they're just using the same animation techniques across the board, but it fit a little bit more in this cave-like setting. But aside from the animation, it's probably one of the shows that I've been watching recently that I've been enjoying more. New shows, specifically. We've been rewatching a lot of shows I enjoy. But of the ones that are newer, that have come out within the last couple of years, it's one of the ones I'm enjoying more because I actually like the idea of the story right now and the characters. So I kind of want to see where it goes. I like the idea that as like a penal punishment for almost eternity, right? It's like worse than a death sentence, because at least a death sentence lets you have some peace. As a long-term penal punishment, you are functionally slave labor and just have to do heroics for the rest of whenever. That's kind of dark humor in itself. I'd like to see some of the other people that have been sentenced to be these heroes. I'd like to know what they did to earn it. So we'll definitely see where that goes. I know tomorrow we have Frieren. The next season of Frieren is dropping tomorrow. So I'll probably watch that before the show. Maybe talk about that. I'm not as much looking forward to it, not because I don't enjoy it. I think Frieren's good, but after the initial season, I went and read quite a bit of the manga, so it's not going to be new to me, at least this portion of the show. I didn't go all the way. I'm not caught up on the manga. I think maybe sometime in this arc we'll probably catch up or pass where I was. I'd have to see where it goes. I don't know how much they're going to condense it. I could still be further. But you're just not as excited for stuff that I already know what's going to happen. Still, the animation in Frieren is wonderful. I believe it's, Studio Madhouse? Everything they do is always good. So, even though I already know what's going to happen, I will definitely get a lot of enjoyment from just the beautiful animation that I will see tomorrow. So we will definitely talk about Frieren. Let's see, other things that are going on. Where is it? Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Lucasfilm, which I see a lot of people cheering about. I'm not going to, because I don't think anything's changing just because Kennedy's stepping down. I think she's just old at this point. She's been there for a long time. You know, like, she was around back when Lucas and Spielberg were making Indiana Jones. It's like, yeah, step down. Sure, it just makes sense. Though she's not leaving. She's just stepping down as the role of president of Lucasfilm. That's an important note. She'll be returning to the role of a producer. So a lot of her say is still going to get into productions. And the person taking over the office is Dave Filoni, who kind of has the exact same opinions as her. So I don't think her stepping down is going to change the direction Lucasfilm is going at all, for better or worse. That's going to depend on how you currently think of Lucasfilm. I'm not a fan of anything they did after Disney bought them, but I was also already starting to get away from Lucasfilm before Disney purchased them and merged with them into there. I didn't like the Clone Wars TV show. I tried. I thought, hey, you know, maybe Disney will turn this around. I think the only thing I ever liked under Disney Star Wars was Rogue One. I think that movie's still pretty good. Feels like 3 different movies. Or I wouldn't say 3 different movies. I feel like it had 3 different directors. Each act almost feels like it's directed differently. But aside from that, still an enjoyable movie. I'd go back and rewatch Rogue One. That's probably the only Disney Star Wars thing I'd go back and rewatch. But a lot of people do enjoy Disney Star Wars. It's like you have 2 different ages of audience. There's people who liked the stuff before, and there's some people who came in and while they probably still like the old stuff, they like the new stuff more because that's the stuff they came in under. And for the people who like the direction it's going, it's going to stay the same. Nothing's changing under this regime change, this alteration. The new people in charge, who's the other one? It's not just Filoni as creative manager. It's also Lywin Brennan is going to be general manager. These people believe all the same things about the direction Star Wars should be going as Kennedy did. Don't worry. If you like it, you'll continue to like it. If you dislike it, you'll continue to dislike it. Nothing changes at all. Funny thing that happened. So recently, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has received the title of highest player-rated game on Metacritic of all time. All time. Right up there with things like Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And I believe the game deserves it. What's crazy, and this is mostly a meme, but you know how the internet is and how much we need to push memes to be reality, because that's just, the internet would be a boring place otherwise, right? Nintendo DS Classic Cory in the House is currently the number 2 highest rated game on Metacritic. And I believe if we try our hardest, if everybody goes in and rates the game and gives it the highest score you could possibly give it, we might be able to get Cory in the House to be the number 1 highest rating game on Metacritic of all time. Does it deserve it? Well, I mean, it's Cory in the House, so of course it deserves it. But over Clair Obscur? Maybe not, but we should do it anyway because it's fun. And the internet is all about having fun. What is the point of this majestic place made of wires and tubes that connects us all together if we're not going to have just a little crazy, almost insane levels of fun? So I would love to see it bump up as much as I think Clair Obscur was a great game. Cory in the House should be above it, as well as the other like top 10 games, including Metal Gear Solid 3, Silent Hill 2, Witcher 3. In fact, actually, there's 2 different versions of Metal Gear Solid 3, I think, on the top 10 list, which is funny. Cory in the House is one of those memes that just keeps on giving. I remember back, God, when was this? It was ages ago at this point. Maybe 12, 13 years ago. When the... Actually, it might have been longer than that. It might have been back when I was in school. It might have been anywhere between 15 to 17 years ago. But there was the old like forum discussion amongst like the anime forums about like, what is your favorite anime? And any jokester would come in will always say that my favorite anime is Cory in the House. Which is the craziest joke, because even by using the literal Japanese definition, Cory in the House still doesn't qualify because it's not animated. It's a live-action show. But it's got some sticking point to it, you know? There's something fun about just blatantly being wrong and saying that your favorite anime is Cory in the House. And now you could probably also say your favorite game is Cory in the House and have Metacritic backing it up if anybody tries to call you out. I'd be like, why is your favorite game that, like, piece of shit? And it's like, a piece of shit? It's got, like, a 9.6 on Metacritic from the user scores. Let's just keep being tricksters. Let's being jokesters our entire lives. Don't let anybody tell you to grow up. Where's the other thing I wanted to talk about? That's something else. Oh! New Game of Thrones spinoff. Which I think is, following House of the Dragon. And it is Aegon's Conquest game. Which I guess is another prequel, because I think this one is actually about Aegon the Conqueror. It's going to have a HBO TV show, as you'd expect all of these things to do. But it's also going to have what they call a mammoth Dune-sized feature film. Which is probably a better use of their budget than throwing a feature-filled budget at every other episode of the show that they're doing. I love the way the shows look. It took me forever to start watching House of the Dragon. I think I'm caught up now. One of the reasons I never did in the past was when it was airing, we had access to Max, but my family, it was back when my mom was still alive, they had never watched Game of Thrones, so I was going to wait. I was going to let them watch Game of Thrones, and then when they watched the whole thing, we were going to watch House of the Dragon together. And then eventually my mom passed away, and then we all went different ways and moved out of the house. And I just sat on it. Like, I just never remembered to go back and watch House of the Dragon. Marsupio and I watched it recently. Now, he had already seen it, but I hadn't. And I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I think I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Game of Thrones. And I'm not talking about just the end where everything kind of went off hill, you know, and they blew their budget and compressed everything and had all kinds of bad decisions. I liked it maybe more than I liked seasons 2 and 3, which I thought were the strongest points of Game of Thrones. If they keep up that level of production, that level of pacing, and the proper budget and directing for this Aegon's Conquest game, I would say I look forward to it. I would probably look forward to it a lot. I think the best part of House of the Dragon was actually the dragon fights, because that's what you want to see. You want to see dragons fighting dragons, and you didn't really get much of that in Game of Thrones, even though there was supposed to be a really drawn-out fight between a living dragon and an undead dragon at the end, and they kind of just, like, crushed that into no time at all. But we got several big features with the dragons during House of the Dragon, so that was fun. And I think you get even more during the time of Aegon's Conquest, so that could be really cool. I want to see some cool things. In fact, I think, especially because you're dealing in this stuff, I know House of the Dragon is based off of, like, a spin-off book that Martin made. I don't know if there's any actual, like, material that talks about Aegon's Conquest. I don't know. It might. I'm not that familiar with everything. But they probably have a lot more freedom here than they do in the other stuff, even though they were given lots of freedom in the show anyway, so it's not like that was ever a problem. They changed a lot from what was in the book. So I think they could just make Rule of Cool. Just Rule of Cool it. Give us a lot of dragon fights, give us a lot of just, like, burning bodies and stuff. Perfect. We'll enjoy the show quite a bit. And I want to say, was that it? Did I have anything else I wanted to talk about? I think that actually might be it. And we're already having internet troubles anyway, so maybe I'll just end the stream early today. I'll still give a few minutes of play out for the schedule so people can see it. But hey, thank you guys for watching, whether it's now in the present or if you're watching the VOD later on. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, hey, grab that link, share it out. We're here, I don't know, at least every week. even if I'm not consistent on a schedule. But we're here a lot. And you can also watch me play video games or other stuff during the week. So follow, do whatever you got to do. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium live. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. I'm scheduled for it. I think I have the time. Let's hope the internet's working better by then. Bye.